Okay, so my name is Lea Winter, and I'm the co-chairwoman of FIAN Switzerland, which is the Swiss section of the NGO FIAN International. FIAN International is an NGO fighting for the right to food for more than 25 years. It's spelled like Amnesty with autonomous national section, 18 of them at the moment. So I'm the co-chairwoman of FIAN Switzerland, and since a few years, we really try that all the northern section of the organization are really working on national issues. So issues of the right to food in Switzerland, for example, in our case. The right to food is enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and it's been detailed in many documents of the UN, in particular in the International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights, and then we have several general comments from the committee. So what we mean by the right to food is basically that people should either have physical access to food by their own production, access to land, to seeds, to water, to technology, to be able to grow food to nourish themselves and their family in dignity. But as we know now, more than half of the population of the world lives in cities. So it's also to have access to a decent income so you can buy food for you and your family. What we do is that we're really working on the obligation of the states because they have ratified this covenant I told you about, and therefore they have obligation to respect, protect and fulfill the right to food. So the role of civil society everywhere and in Switzerland as well is to monitor the action of the states, to document eventual violation of these rights. Like for example in 2010, FIAN Switzerland did a study on the right to food in Geneva, because even in Geneva this right is violated. We found out that more than 12,000 people, specifically migrant people, and single mother, single woman headed household, have great difficulty realizing this right in Switzerland. So since 2012, what we did with FIAN Switzerland is really focusing on the impact of Geneva on the right to food of people in the global south and everywhere else. So what we did is that we really questioned the authorities and the different actors in Geneva, because we have a lot of trading agency and transnational cooperation with their headquarters in Switzerland. So we really questioned the authorities about how are they regulated, how do you monitor their activities. And we published several publications on this subject. The last one is from last year, and it's called Agir à Genève pour le droit à l'alimentation dans les pays du Sud. And it gives really concrete, practical advice to each level of authorities in Geneva and the region, so they can really implement changes and really make sure that we have more policy coherence. It's also designed to every people, because at the end of this publication there is template of letters that everyone can send to its bank or insurance or pension funds and ask them, how do you manage my money? And also to say that it's out of the question to have irresponsible investments. So it's important to know that Geneva is the human rights city, because all the UN organizations fighting for human dignity are based in Geneva, like the Committee on Human Rights. And also we have headquarters of major NGOs like Amnesty and other big NGOs fighting for the human rights that are based there. But it's at the same time the home of massive transnational corporations who are sometimes questionable on corporate responsibility. So we find it's a bit schizophrenic to have these two trends in the same city, and some of the authorities favoring the development of human rights and the shining of the international Geneva, but at the same time making fiscal arrangements so the less scrupulous traders company can come and settle in Geneva. So we really are calling for more policy coherences and for more consultation of the population on where we want to go and what we want Geneva to be. So in Geneva, there is the UN Human Rights System, and we participate in several consultations that are related to our topic. There is the one on the future declaration on rights of peasants and other people working in rural area, who's happening in Geneva, and we're following that process very closely. It's moving slowly, but we are very confident that this will be a new declaration and maybe sometimes a convention. And there is also this consultation on the human rights obligation of private actor, in particular transnational corporation, because regulation is moving way too slowly, like we always behind. And it's very important that it's recognized that these actors that are so powerful and are committing massive human rights abuse are regulated and monitored, and we need a binding instrument for that. I'm also happy to launch here in the Salone del Gusto the 2014 edition of the Right to Food and Nutrition Watch. This one is the Spanish version, but it exists in French and English. This edition celebrates the 10 years anniversary of the FAO guidelines on the right to food. These guidelines were really instrumental in deepening the understanding of food as a human rights at the global level. And as each year, it also demonstrates concrete example in several countries of how the people are struggling there to maintain their livelihood. We have also other example of northern countries like Sweden, Belgium, or Norway that are really fighting for the right to food in their own countries. They're fighting against mining companies, or in Belgium, for example, they just submitted a bill, some parliamentarians submitted a bill, so Belgium really would be held accountable on its obligation to protect, fulfill, and respect the right to food. Food is a very important topic because we are what we eat, and I think it was really a nice example of one of the positive aspects of the globalization we know, because here you have all the countries and we all meet and share around food, and it was really nice to see that here. And I think in Expo will be the same, but I think it's really important that we keep room to discuss those very serious issues, because there are so many people that cannot participate in those kind of events because they're discriminated, they're poor, they cannot travel, they cannot do all what we do. So it's important to take time and space to discuss their issues, the priority of a more fair and sustainable food system.